Hey folks, I'm Belghast of the Tales of the Agronaut blog and AgriChat podcast. This month is Blaugust, and as a result, Chestnut had this interesting idea of each of us recording a mini podcast of sorts. As a result, she's come up with a bunch of questions, and I'm going to try and work my way through them. First off, how did I get into blogging? Man, this is going to be a long and sordid tale, and I'm going to try and keep it as short as humanly possible because I think she wants these to be pretty short. I have always been a poster in communities, namely gaming forums. I was one of those people that would see a topic and post a big old wall rant full of things. And in truth, my rants aren't really rants, but it'd be basically me tearing into a topic. And as a result, I ended up getting involved in a bunch of communities, namely the World of Warcraft forum community for my server, Argent Dawn, in the United States. I met a ton of people through that, and it's great, because I still play with a significant number of them that I met on both sides of the faction wall. The problem is, as forums became less and less of a friendly place to post, I felt like I needed a place to call my own. And I stumbled across a blog post, or a blog by Aerodol called The Wordy Warrior. And it was a World of Warcraft tanking blog and guild leader blog. And ultimately that was really the blog that prompted me to want to start my own thing as well. Because I was like, look at this person. This person is talking about the same kinds of things that I want to talk about, being a raid tank and being a raid leader and a guild leader. So ultimately, she was my inspiration for posting, and she was super cool about it. And we're still in contact now, even though she works at Blizzard these days. But that's really how I got into blogging. And how long I've been blogging? This is my 10th year. I guess, so there's a bit of a misnomer there. This is my 10th year on Tales of the Agronaut. There's another blog that I did for several years prior to that no one is ever going to know about. Because there's stuff on there that's funny, but there's also stuff on there that's embarrassing, so we're not going to talk about that. Now, this is the difficult thing, because, these questions are largely targeted towards someone who's just participating, not the person who decided to get this thing started. I decided that I was tired of our community dwindling. There was a period of time when we had a really strong blog community. And I started off that way. I never would have succeeded were I not part of the WoW blogging community. And it was so big and supportive, and things like the Twisted Nether blogcast were out there talking about blogs on an active basis. The biggest problem is there was never really an equivalent of that for the non-Warcraft blogging space until SIP started the Newbie Blogger Initiative. So that was a great event every year. I started Blaugust, and I've talked at length about why I started Blaugust, but we were really missing some of these structures. Last year, none of them happened. And that's all of our failing for not picking up and doing one of those. So my thought was we could bring back Blaugust and somehow mix in all of the elements that we liked about the other ones, creating this hybrid event. Because I feel like we're going to have a better chance of keeping it going every year if there's just the one event, rather than, I think at one point there were 5 separate events that were happening throughout the year, and that's cool, but it's also exhausting, and, participation wanes as you go on if you're having to do a bunch of things at once. So, the thing I hope to get out of Blaugust is just a more active community. I want my blog roll to be more active throughout the year. So my hope is that this kickstart will last the whole year, and by the time we get around to Blaugust next year, we can apply the jumpers again and get the community started and fired up, and we'll continue on again for the next year. Because I feel like all of us have the need to express ourselves creatively, and the hope is this kind of a community that we've built, and the Discord is crazy active, and I'm hoping it stays active throughout the rest of the year. And we just have stuff to read. Like it's a selfish wish to have things to read during the year. And the problem is, like, there's a bunch of questions here, but like I think that was a combo answer that answered a ton of them. As far as any advice that I would give a blogger, I have posts on this. The thing is just start writing and start writing in a regular manner. It's really easy to get caught up in your statistics, and I could go at length about how looking at the numbers is a bad idea. However, the idea is that if you keep posting, you'll find your audience. Like, eventually, there will be people that are in this for you, not in this for the things that you're talking about. And I think that's the difference between a dedicated audience for you personally and an audience for whatever it is that you're talking about. Like, it was traumatic for me when I left the World of Warcraft blogosphere and started playing Rift, because, like, in 1 month, I lost probably 70% of my readers because, you know, game-specific user bases are very fickle. They're only interested in you when that thing that they want you to talk about is what you're talking about. However, if you can develop an audience that's interested in you as a human being, they'll be around forever. Like, they will continue to check in on you as a human being to see how you're doing and how things are going. And that's what a loyal reader base looks like. So, it's also possibly why I shy away from telling people to latch onto a blog and write a blog-specific, you know, or a game-specific blog, because those are going to come and go. Like, that game is, you're going to reach a point where that's no longer the game you want to talk about. And then you have to figure out what you do with your stuff from there. So, my piece of advice is just start writing and do it on a regular basis. And eventually the rest of the stuff will sort out. Like, I'm 10 years down the road, and it's hard for me to remember what it was like those first few years when I had a handful of people writing. Now, granted, because I was part of an active game community, I did get kickstarted by, like, my post ending up on, I can't even remember what Massively was before it was Massively. The World of Warcraft thing, yeah. I had a couple posts that were on there, and that kind of kickstarted me up to, like, 40,000 views in a single month when one of those things blew up. But hopefully the community can help to support each other and help to get the word out for all the fledgling blogs, and we will watch them evolve over the next year. So I think for the most part, I answered all the questions, except for the most boring one. Like, where does Belghast come from? And it's really just a simple case of me ramming together sounds until I found something that I liked. That's how I used to name a lot of characters, is just take two sounds and put them together until I came up with something that I liked. And back in Dark Age of Camelot, Belghast was a name that I stuck with. So it is really boring. Anyway, I'm going to close this off so that it stays under 10 minutes, and hopefully you're enjoying the month, and I will see you on the Discord, and I will see you on my blog and on my podcast. Thanks.